I was 12, and we had moved from Tucson to a small town in the middle of Tucson and Phoenix, a very small town. And we moved in the middle of the school year, so I was in 7th grade. And Kayla was the first person I met. And she was sweet and kind and funny, and instantly we had this connection. And I think I knew, even at 12, I knew that she was somebody that was always going to be in my life. When I met her at 12, typical 12-year-old, and she had always been kind of sickly, but it was like she always had a cold. She would always cough, and she was thin, but we didn't really know that she was sick. We just thought she always had a cold. And the family doctor just thought that she always had a lung infection or asthma. And so we didn't really know what it was. Through high school, she just started to get sicker and thinner, and the coughing was getting worse, and she just was not recovering as quickly. And you could really tell that she was getting worse and worse our senior year. And her parents really started to get worried that there was something seriously wrong. And so they moved to Phoenix, and they went to a hospital, a large hospital in Phoenix. And that's when she was diagnosed. It was the summer after our senior year. And that was just devastating for everybody. Her health got worse at that point, and she had to do the treatments. And we lived together for a short time, and I would do the treatments and the pounding on her back. And and I saw what she had to deal with. When she was diagnosed when she was 18, we didn't know anything about CF. And she was such a positive person that she didn't want other people to worry about her. And because she was always so positive, I thought, well, if she's positive, then I'm positive, nothing will happen to her. And because she was diagnosed at 18, I thought, well, it can't be that bad, because most people with CF die before they're 18 or don't make it, very far past their 18th birthday. So she was so positive that she made other people feel positive that she was going to be okay. So I really didn't think that anything was going to happen to her. She got married when she was 23, 24. Joel, he was a great guy. He took care of her and was just such a wonderful guy. She was on the list for a lung transplant, and that was difficult for her because she was such a good person and such a loving person that she felt like she was waiting for somebody to die for her to live, and she had a real conflict about that. But she was on the list, and she finally got called, and I was living in Florida at the time, and we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. I knew she was on the list, but I didn't know she was going in for surgery. She and her husband Joel didn't want to tell anybody until after the surgery. So I got a phone call with a message from Joel saying to call him, and he sounded really upset. And I called him, and he said Kayla didn't make it. And I didn't know what he meant. And he explained that Kayla went in for the lung transplant surgery and that her heart gave out, that she didn't make it. And I felt like my world had just come to an end. I lost my best friend. She was my soulmate in a way that my husband is the love of my life, and we have such a wonderful relationship, but you have that one person that's just really, really special, and that's who she was, and that was just devastating. She had always been so positive, and the last time we got together, she was a little less optimistic than she had been in the past, and I think she was really trying to tell me something. So that's when I said, well, if anything ever happened to you, I will name my first daughter after you. And that's what I did.
I really like that my name has meaning, and it wasn't just something that my mom thought was pretty, that it goes back, and that I know how much Kayla meant to her. And I want to be a nurse really bad, so I want to honor her and do something really good with my life.
It's a devastating illness. I think Kayla lives on in my Kayla. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. And having my daughter keeps Kayla's memory alive, because it's kind of funny how my daughter, my Kayla, is so similar to my best friend Kayla. She loves 80s movies, and she loves 80s music, and she loves things that Kayla loved that most 15-year-old girls don't. So it's almost like Kayla's spirit is with my Kayla, and that she lives on in that way.
We're dating, and we had a long distance relationship. I lived in Atlanta and he lived here in Texas, and he happened to casually just mention to me one night on the phone, oh, by the way, I have CF. And I didn't know anything about CF. So at that point, I went to the library and I researched and I looked and I cried because it was very gloomy. And then as I learned more about it and learned of all the improvements that are being made and everything that's being done, his hope transferred to my hope, and it's been a positive experience.
Well, you're downplaying a little bit because she was really freaked out. But then when she did the research, yeah, she realized it's just not something that you can take lightly. And dating someone and then marrying someone with CF really takes a huge commitment. And I'm very, very proud that, I can say that she's done that. I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old. I was having health issues. My parents didn't really know what was wrong. So they did what was called a sweat test. It came up positive. I was born in 1972, so it was 1975, and there was no internet, obviously. So my father went to a library and looked up, all the things about CF, and they were quite stunned. The life expectancy then was age 8, so from my parents' standpoint, I only had, 5 years. But I went from the age expectancy went from 8 to 13 to 21 to now. There's really no limit at this point where CF can go. Too many hours on the road. But I'm 40, so I've made it this far. My 30th birthday was pretty special as well. I'm a musician, and my band had just gotten signed to a record label, and so that was a big milestone. I remember you. Do you remember me too? The name of the band is Stereo Fuse. We had a hit single called Everything that was top 20 on Billboard. Went on tour with a band called Creed, and that was special. We played, sold out arenas. Incredible time playing in front of so many thousands of people. Life on the road with CF was tough, but it was doable. I was the singer, I was the lead singer, and played guitar. And there were days where I just didn't feel well, but I had to, put on that smiley face and go out and perform. But I had good bandmates. They were understanding. But I would take my treatments and do all the things that, necessary. Plus, I had to keep my voice, to where I was able to sing. And so I did that, and I did it as well as I could. We had minimal success at that point. I was getting to the point where I couldn't sing as well. I couldn't, perform just because of the lung issues. I was struggling a little bit, and finally just decided, I think it's time for me to, hang it up and just retire. So I'm a 40-year-old retired musician, which is not a bad thing, being 40 and with CF. We were thinking about maybe having to do a lung transplant. And that was something that I wasn't sure that I wanted to do. That was, that's a huge decision to make. I decided it wasn't for me to do a lung transplant. It wasn't fair for those who definitely want it, because I was on the fence. So decided not to go with it, and then got the phone call that about the new medicine Kalydeco. And there's only 4% of people with CF that have the certain mutation that can take Kalydeco. And I got the phone call that said that I was in that 4%. It was a new lease on life, and I feel so blessed that I'm able to take the medicine. And it is not cheap, I will tell you that. Thankfully, with good insurance, it pays for it. It's $480 per pill, and I have had to take it twice a day. So it's about $25,000 a month for Kalydeco, yeah. So I get 3 months supply, it's $75,000. And because it's new, is the reason why it's so expensive. So I've been taking it right about a year now, and I have not diminished. My lung capacity now is at about 31%, which, I'll take it. Normally, before I was taking Kalydeco, I would have a stint in the hospital for about 10 days, twice a year, every 6 months generally. And since I've taken Kalydeco, it's been about every year. So it's cut in half. And I'm very grateful for that, for sure. I'm used to being in front of people. I kind of missed it. So I'm playing, you know, just around locally by myself occasionally just to get that out there. When we did our second album, we recorded a song that I wrote called Like I Do. And it has a really special meaning to me. I wrote that as a way to get out my feelings, and it also speaks to other people with CF. And lyrically, you can listen to it, and I think it has a special feel for people with CF.
No one knows, no one sees the fear inside, and no one prays, no one feels the pain you hide, and no one hurts, no one takes the tears you cry, 'cause no one cares. No one heard you say goodbye. I have been waiting for the day when you'll see I'm right by your side. 'Cause you know I will not be denied. 'Cause I see it and I hear it, I taste it and I feel it. You're not alone, there's someone who feels just like you feel. I know your heart aches and the pain you're going through, 'cause nobody knows you like I do. Nobody loves you like I do.
I just want people to realize there is hope, and the money that is raised and the donations that are given helps with all the research, and it gives people with CF a future, and that's the most important thing.
Like I do.
I just want to thank you all for being here. If it wasn't for you guys in this room and every single person here, we have a future. And I'm proud to say, and I'm here, standing here because of the donations and the auctions and the effort and the work that you guys are willing to participate in. And I just have one thing to say. We can change the letters of CF to cure found with your help. Thank you guys.